The business world is changing, and like it or not, there's no escaping the new normal. Join us today for another conversation with a small business. I'm Joel Slatis, and welcome to my podcast. As everyone knows, the coronavirus and other recent national events have impacted many businesses, but the nuts and bolts of the impact is as diverse as the businesses they affect. I'm Joel Slatis, and I'm a CEO with thousands of small business customers. Today, I'm chatting with one of them, Weeseetsa Maeding, the operations manager at Alternatives Pregnancy Center in Sacramento, California, to see how her business is doing in this climate of the new normal. First of all, Weeseetsa, tell us a little bit about the Alternatives Pregnancy Center, if you don't mind.
I'd love to. We are a pro-life, nonprofit, free women's medical clinic in Sacramento, California. We've been operating since 1982, so we've been around for 38 years serving the women in the greater Sacramento area. A couple of years ago, we became fully medical, so we now provide prenatal care, well woman visits, OBGYN care, HIV testing and treatment, STD testing and treatment. So a lot of, basically we're fully medical, licensed by the state of California, and we are 100% donor funded, completely free.
So as a medical office for pregnancy related issues, I assume that you guys were deemed an essential business. You stayed open throughout the entire lockdown process?
Correct. Our medical staff did. Our admin staff worked from home for a couple of months, but our medical clinic stayed open, and our medical staff stayed on, and so we stayed open with our regular hours.
Okay,
all through the lockdown.
I was going to ask about that, actually. So how many staff approximately do you guys have over there?
We have 9 paid staff members. We also have several volunteer medical staff as well.
Okay, and so probably 3 or 4 of them work from home, and was that new with the coronavirus that they started working from home, or is that something that they've always done?
No, absolutely. It's completely new, and only the administrative staff worked from home, and it's something that we've never done before. It was a little bit challenging, but we knew it was just for a time, and we got through it. And we've been back in the office. All of the admin staff has been back in the office now for about a month.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that actually brings me to a different question that I was going to ask, which was, what would be your plans going forward? Have there been anything, changes that you've had to make as a result of the shutdown that you decided to keep that you thought were better?
No, we are a very small organization with very few employees. So we work better when we're in contact with each other. We have a lot of overlapping responsibilities. We're very dependent on each other to do our jobs well. So working on site at our clinic is probably best practice for us. I know that a lot of companies have found that it's more efficient for a lot of their employees to work from home. But it actually is better for us to be here. We are taking precautions, and that does make, social distancing, wearing masks and things like that makes it a little bit more difficult. But still, it's a lot better than working from home. I think we're just a lot more productive when we can have that contact with each other, that constant communication, just to make sure that things don't fall through the cracks, with client information and the California Department of Public Health regulations to follow. So it's just easier to be here.
Got it. Okay, perfect. And so obviously there were some struggles with the lockdown that you guys have overcome, and now you're sort of back on track. You're almost back to where you were before the whole thing. Is business at the same level that it used to be?
Yeah, we did see a dip in our patients for a while. We used that time though to bless the community we did a diaper drive. So we had a drive-through diaper drive. So patients and our parenting class clients could come through and pick up free diapers. We set up our mobile clinic. We also serve the community in a mobile clinic in different locations around Sacramento. And so we parked it outside of our clinic and had people just drive up. We handed them diapers. So we actually were able to serve over 400 families during March and April during the lockdown. And we still saw clients every single day. The number of clients did go down, though, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and with everyone stuck at home, there's definitely more opportunity for people to reacquaint themselves with their significant other, more opportunities for intimacy.
Yes.
I've also read that there was potential condom shortage because some areas, maybe in some areas, condoms weren't necessarily considered an essential business, and also birth controls for some people might be more difficult to obtain. So are we looking, in your opinion, from your unique point of view as the operations manager at the pregnancy clinic, are we looking at another baby boom in January?
We've talked about that, and there are differing opinions. I would not be surprised at all if we see that happening down the road. Of course, we won't know for probably a few more months, but we are actually preparing for that and anticipating that. So we're ready for it. If our clientele numbers jump, we're prepared for that, because that is something that we've talked about as a staff, and so.
Got to get ready. Got to gear up for it.
I'm going to guess that yes, we will have a COVID baby boom, but time will tell.
Last question. Since you have sent your employees home, and you're one of these employers who definitely benefits by having their employees in the office, would you have any tips to offer for other employers who had to send their employees home or might have to send their employees home in the future if things get worse? What were some of the things that you learned as a result of doing that made operations easier?
I think communication with your employees and your staff is really key. So if you had in-person staff meetings scheduled, definitely keep those, whether it's Zoom or Skype or call-in. I think making sure that you're touching base with all of your employees, making sure that they have everything they need, whether it's a computer, any other type of supplies that they need in order to do their job from home that you might just kind of assume that they have or take for granted that you have when you're in the office. But I would just say communication. We did have Zoom calls regularly to check in with each other, and then just making sure that the systems you have in place allow for working remotely in the future. And that's something that I was really relieved about, that we had since I came on 2 years ago as operations manager, we grew really quickly, and so we had to make a lot of changes. Even though we're not very large now, going from like 2 employees to 11 is like a big jump for an organization of our size. And so we had already made some changes to our systems, timesheets.com being one of them, that made it a lot easier to work remotely and to manage employees remotely as well.
Okay, that's 2 great tidbits now our listeners should remember. So first of all, don't assume, that's a great piece of advice, don't assume that your employees have everything they need at home. Things like printer paper may not necessarily be on the shelf. And also making sure that you've got systems in place for the future so that you're future-proofing yourself with systems. Well, that's a great information. I do appreciate you taking the time, Weeseetsa, to talk with us, for coming on. And that's basically all the time we have for today. But if anybody is pregnant and in the Sacramento area, then Alternatives Pregnancy Center might be a great place to go. And Weeseetsa would love to hear from you. Weeseetsa, thanks for coming.
Thanks, Joel. Appreciate it.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.